Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another interview of this blog series, Wild Inside, on the Punta Cana Wellness. Today, I have the pleasure to talk to a great friend. She is not only I consider her my friend, but she's a strategic partner for Punta Cana Wellness, and she is the founder and CEO of Life Free Warrior, marketing influencer. And today, we're going to talk about you, Sara. Welcome. Hi.
Thank you for having me here.
This is so cool. So let's jump in. Sarah, I want everybody, I know that you have 20,000, 30,000 followers, and they know about you because you are a content creator and you share from your own experience. But so many people, probably in this Punta Cana wellness side, doesn't know who really are you. So let's talk about how do you start this process? How do you became this life-free warrior person and started doing all this content creation things that you do?
So it's a great question and quite a story, and it's amazing where you never really know where life is going to take you, and just follow the dots, the circles, and the intuition. I started college as an art director, graphic designer, communications major. And when I got out of school, I got a job as a junior AD in an ad agency. So I was designing for the first couple of years of my professional life. And even though I was laid off, I got another job as a graphic designer shortly thereafter. And it was really in the creative field of designing promo pieces, graphics, logos, any kind of like POP design. So I have a long background in history and professional experience in creating for marketing and advertising and sales. I grew up in sales as well. My family has a ski and snowboard store. So I grew up in this sales environment and entrepreneurial spirit as well. I reached a point where I wanted to focus a little more on my health and well-being. Without going into too much detail, I'm a 16-year cancer survivor. I've overcome addictions with eating disorders, with alcohol. So the journey and my passion for well-being was always there, because I know if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. So when I reached a point in my career as a designer, and I realized I was sitting behind a desk doing, it was 12, 13, 14-hour days. And I reached a point where I was looking more at my clock, my watch, to see what time, we didn't have Apple Watches back then, so what time I could be leaving to make my yoga class. I'm like, this has to be a sign for something. I'm not living out what I really feel. I'm not walking my talk. So I ended up leaving the corporate world to start teaching yoga. And that's where one of my biggest switches that I made in my career as a young kid, I think I was 27 at the time, maybe. And that's when I started teaching yoga full time. That point, I was living in Boston, then decided to move down to Miami, because I said, if I don't do it now, it's never going to happen. So I'm tired of the snow. I did 30 years in the snow, and enough is enough. We are not trees, and we don't have to stay in one place. So I decided to move down to Miami. My ex-husband and I at the time, we packed up, moved, and I've been living in Miami ever since. I started teaching yoga down here in Miami, and it's a different environment in Miami teaching yoga. But personally, I also reached a point where I said, I'm not feeling fulfilled anymore. I really need that creative aspect again. It's in my blood to create. But I've always had also that business side and that entrepreneurial side. So I ended up leaving teaching yoga, I want to say, a few years back, 4 years back, to start doing content creation and more production work at the time, and being more in front of the camera and speaking and interviewing. My husband is a producer in events and TV, and has taught me a lot about, with working with cameras, production. I did a lot of studying with editing, but I've also always had an eye for photography and storytelling. So combining all of those different skill sets together, and also my experience in wellness, that's where I am today as a content creator, a host for various podcasts, and also content that I create for other companies that are in well-being and for travel, and doing reviews, working with different hotels, consulting for their wellness programs. And on the flip side, I also do modeling, talent, on camera, impacting as well.
So don't this come to your plate, like you said, just because you were looking at your watch and you were saying like, this is a sign. Um, for a lot of kids out there, they look right now and they say, oh my God, I want to become an influencer. I want to start doing this. I want to start doing what she's doing one way or another. It can be traveling, can be in fashion, can be in food related, can be, there's so many, like I think I mentioned the FFTs of the Instagram already. But so if someone is sitting in that desk right now, what exactly would you tell them? Because it's not that easy to engage people. Like it's not that easy to grow your audience. There's a lot of options, like a lot of options. And now, for example, that we're sitting at home due to the current situation, this we bombarded with content that is like somewhat overwhelming. Good content, bad content, great content, not so good content, and the scale goes up. So, how did you manage to create this engagement?
You're correct right now that there's almost an overload of content out there at times where I really just, I see everyone pops up live at 12 p.m. and I'm like, I put my phone away to the side. So, as an aspiring, I don't even like to use the word influencer, but as someone who wants to leave their mark in the world, I really would, you are up against a lot of different competitions. So you got to think a little more of what do you as a person offer. And that's where before starting anything, any kind of career in any influential position, know your why that you're doing something. If it is to be famous, do not do it. We don't need any more stupid famous people in the world just sharing dumb things. Like what we do need and what will stand out is what you as a unique individual offer. So think of your life experiences. If you want to travel, that's can be a byproduct of, but what are you traveling for? If you want to, grow an interest and in impact, millennial generation, know what your message is, what your life experience has led you to be. If it's written word, if it's photography, if it's owning a skill set, knowing your why you want to do something, but then get really, really darn good at it and stick to it. You got to be consistent and stay, it's not something that's going to happen fast. It's not TikTok. This is, think long term. It's like a stock, really. And you have to, one, diversify your portfolio and assets. So don't just bank on one platform, go for multiple platforms. And at the same time, be consistent with, you can't be buying and selling stocks really fast, especially right now. You have to think long-term strategy and how you're going to continue to evolve and grow. If you're going for short term, you're thinking, I just want to be famous and fast. You're going to run out of things to post. You're not going to have a message to begin with, probably, but it's not going to be something that can be sustainable in the long term. And at the end of the day, it always, always, always comes back to your why, because if it's not something that drives you, it's going to come across. Authenticity really can be read in a photo and in words these days faster than we ever thought. So it's got to come from heart. Otherwise, don't come from it at all. And don't move too fast. If you're in a current job right now, gradually move into doing something else. Don't leap without having at least a plan B, C, or D as a backup.
Yeah, that sounds wise, very wise words. I mean, and from the business perspective, you deal with brands and one of the things that we were supposed to be talking about, should enough in a month or so, but we're doing it next year, hopefully, God willing, a date to be announced in the conference, is how to manage, this content creation wave when it comes to businesses. You are a marketing professional. I'm a marketing professional. Sometimes my mind goes blank on like, what now? What do I say now? What do I do now? What do I take out of words of people? And I believe that us as marketeers, marketing professionals, we found ourselves in this place, the same as the business owner, the same as the marketing director of H&C companies. And right now, for example, our industry, which is travel and tourism, has been hit really hardship, and mostly Caribbean is kind of like in lockdown, closed right now. But I do understand that this is, for my perspective, is that this is the moment to sit down with pen and paper and start creating, because this is the moment that you have that clarity, that that leaves you, there's no phone calls, there's no other interventions, so you have some time. What would you say, how do you manage your brands right now? What exactly you are thinking towards them, how you helping them?
I personally have reached out to any hotel, any brand that I've worked with in the past, even if I don't have current contracts. And I said to them, how can I help you? At the end of the day, it's not about what I can get. It's about how do we help each other. And if I know I have a backlog of content and it's just sitting there and those locations or brands don't have access to that, then to me, I'm being selfish in a way. Not everything is about money. And especially right now, it's not about getting more. You think of the toilet paper people who are going out and clearing the shelves. Get what you need and think of other people. And that's how we learn to care for the world that we live in. And I think that's a big lesson in all of this. So it's not about if I have enough, then it's how do I help others, which I'm grateful, and I do. And I have enough that I'm working on, a couple other projects that are keeping me going. So I've reached out to all the hotels and companies that I've worked with, as I said, and I've said, how can I help you? And in addition to that, I'm also planning ahead, and I'm looking at, like you said, I'm looking at Q3, I'm looking at Q4, and I'm saying, okay, if the reason we are here where we are right now, this is our time to child's pose, to see what's not working, to see what we need to do in this moment to create change, but then also think planning ahead to how we're going to implement and strategize. And I do truly believe there's going to be a greater demand for well-being and wellness in especially travel moving forward into, like I said, Q3, Q4, and then the years coming than ever.
Yes.
And if you're not seeing that, I think hotels, organizations are a little ignorant. But especially from a business travel perspective, duty of care is going to have to consider employee well-being. From even a hotel that's mainly tourism based and for leisure travel, you are going to need to step up your game for what consumers are going to be looking for moving forward. They're going to look for cleaner options. They're going to look for, having those little wellness add-ons. They're going to demand for better service and that things are to higher standards. So I think it's an opportunity for hotels to also see this. Like, they're hurting right now, but it's going to be an opportunity moving forward to reorganize what they're offering and make it better, because I've even said it myself. I mean, I was a user of Airbnbs in the past. You won't get me to step in an Airbnb for a long time to come. So hotels need to capitalize on that as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's going to be a long time for businesses like Airbnb to really recuperate from this. I mean, you're going to be thinking, and like, who cleaned this? Who was here before? All
Absolutely.
those thoughts are going to come in. I mean, I'm hoping for the best. And like you said, it is time to reorganize what you've been doing and see it in a different perspective. That's when I've been mentioning to people, this is where wellness and well-being of your client is going to be more important than anything else for you to keep living your business. It's going into the travel, talking about a little bit more about the travel, your travel experience. Um, when you one of the things that you mentioned is that you decided to travel and to create all this content, and you have a bank of content that you are actually just right now sharing due to the situation. What inspires you to create that? You get to the location and you get inspired, or you do research? How is your inspirational process goes along?
I need to do it all, and I'm a planner, but I also work really well on the fly. So I look ahead and I see what places are offering. I see, where they are on the map, I see other images, not necessarily that they have on their website, but I look for images that are either tagged on social platforms, that are tagged in, Google Images, and I want to see what users are looking for. Then when I'm there, I I dump everything in the room. First, you do a room tour video before you touch anything, because that room is never going to look as perfect and pristine as the moment you walk in the room. And then after that, then you dump your stuff everywhere, and then you're like a regular person with a little extra camera gear. But then I like to just take a walk, and I like to see, and sometimes I'll bring my camera and I'll take just my phone and I'll take some initial impressions, because you'll never have that again. There are certain moments that you'll never be able to capture again, that it's the first time that you're seeing it. And then I start to plan. After I do the initial impressions, then I start to plan, and I think, okay, what feeling is coming up here? How do I want to, create in that balcony environment? Or this little cove and the beach really speaks to me. It looks like it would be great for, doing a reflection on the morning sunrise. Or, oh, this is an incredible space by the pool to be doing a yoga flow. So I start to plan out different spots for doing selective shoots, and I start planning them out from there. Then I look at my calendar, my day, and I see, what is kind of realistic. Sometimes I overload it and see what I can do or what I can't do. But that's really the part of the planning process. I do some pre-planning. I think that's really important. Otherwise, you're going in blind. So you have no idea what to pack as far as clothing goes, equipment. I need to know if I can fly a drone, things like that. You have to plan for in advance. But then when you're there, then you start to see really the scenes coming alive, and you get the emotion that you don't always get that come across in images that you find online.
How is that separation between what is Sara Quiriconi, life warrior, content creator, entrepreneur, influencer, even if the word doesn't fit or fits not, and the Sara Quiriconi in her house and her life? I mean, are you going around with pedestal on the phone right here, and the camera taking everything that you do and you're doing? Or sometimes it's just like, I'm not creating anything, I'm not posting anything, I am taking some time off. What is that like?
I always try and be authentic. Sometimes maybe I'm a little more positive in my messaging that you'll see online, but it's also probably because I need it too. So a lot of the things that I share, I've never lied. I don't lie. And I don't lie about, anything that I'm sharing or saying. I am a person who has high integrity, and I have a demand for high integrity of people that I am surrounding myself with. You need to walk your talk, and that's something I do strive to always do. But as far as for, taking breaks and pauses, there are definitely moments where I'm just like, you know what? It is not a social media day. I'll do some throwbacks, or I'll do some stories, or, sometimes I've taken even, a weekend off, and I've just really put the phone to the side. And it's helped me to become a better creative coming back to it. For example, right now, I feel like we said in the beginning of this interview, there's so much content just being poured. And I'm recognizing for a lot of creators, the engagement has really dropped. And it's not about the likes, but it's about the reach. It's about, is this message, reaching the potential that it can? And if it's a really good message, sometimes I'll just share it anyway, because it's, it's about giving. It's about the giving part. But it's also, maybe this is my time too, to take a step back and to not share every day, to take a couple days off, to shift gears. So I've shifted a little bit from doing just Instagram at Live Free Warrior, and I've shifted to doing a little more on YouTube and uploading weekly and more so bi-weekly, twice a week, content to Live Free Warrior, my YouTube channel. So it's creating different forms of content and always evolving, that it gives my mind a break from one platform and gives me the opportunity to create in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, us here in Punta Cana Wellness, I've been like, no, I don't have to post every day. I don't need to post every day. Sometimes I'm scrolling with my kids and they show me something funny, and I just take a picture and send it out and put it out there just to get people off their minds and do something funny about it. Or I just post something like the things that we're doing right now, which I'm trying to get people to just like see something different, do something different, read about something different. But like you said, the amount of content that we've been, like you mentioned before, the amount of content that we're bombarding right now, it is ridiculous. Yeah. And at the same time, there's something that you said that is very clear, and I always used to tell that to all my clients and as a marketing, and it's like, this is not about the likes, this is about the reach. This is about the people that engage with you, the people that follow you, the people that are with you, and they are like, you're really evangelical supporters. This is not about how many likes the post is gonna get, because that doesn't pay the bills. That doesn't do anything from a brand perspective. And
It's
even
superficial.
you,
Yeah.
as as a person, as someone that people look after and read about and follow your messages, the likes are not going to do anything, really, if you really want to make your mark, like you said. Sara,
Absolutely.
it's been a very, this is the challenging times, and there's a lot of things changing, and like you said, and I'm like, just curious on what you said late before, that you are looking at Q3, Q4. What is your perspective? What do you think is going to be this new normal? And this is something that I've been asking people already. Like, I want to know what other people think about what is going to be this new normal. What is your idea that how we're going to be able to work better and be better when we come after this? Because I know we will come after this.
We will, because we're humans and the human race adapts, or, we've been doing it for, since the beginning of our lifespan. I do think, and I'll talk on a couple different levels because it's different for travel as it's different from a human perspective. I think in a human perspective, I ideally hope we're going to be a lot more aware that what happens in one area of the world can greatly affect what happens in every other area. We are connected. So whether you think something matters or not, if a country is dumping garbage into the ocean, you think it's not going to affect you and it's not your responsibility, it is. And it's for us to care as a whole instead of just pointing fingers and saying it's just them. Ideally, I hope that people become more aware of their own hygiene and their own self-care. Are they overworking? Are they not sleeping enough? Are they not washing their hands? I mean, I really wonder for all these people going out and now buying soaps and all this hand sanitizer. It's like, what the heck were you doing for the rest of your life? Not washing your hands? It's like, come on, people.
Yeah, like
So
now it's an over washing, overdoing, over everything.
yeah. So, and from a travel perspective, I think we're going to find, I think it's going to be business travel that reopens this travel gate, and that starts to build slowly the travel industry again. But I do think, like I said before, it's going to be more on the employer's responsibility to take care of the employees and ensure that their health is a priority now more than ever. And I think the same goes from a leisure tourism perspective. They're going to have to do a better job to ensure their guests that they are at the highest standards when it comes to cleanliness, that their well-being is a top priority, and that they have them top of mind. And that's going to have to come across in their content. I am a content creator, and just showing pictures of a daiquiri by the pool doesn't tell me anything about your company nor what you offer. But if you show me a lifestyle photo of someone embodying what that wellness activity is on your property, or it's even a small little story or screenshot, that gives me a better idea. So I think in a content level, it's going to have to up their game and really show in a visual storytelling way that, we got the message and we're here to provide for you.
You
And just on a
mentioned
human level,
that before. I'm sorry to jump in there, but you
go
mentioned
for it.
before that for you to get in, like, you're personally thinking, like, I'm an Airbnb user, but for me to get into an Airbnb is going to take some time. How about all-inclusive hotels, which means 5,000 people in one location?
For dining, you mean?
Well, I mean,
For
for
dining or just
staying,
in
like
general?
even staying for a weekend or even going on a getaway, like I'm thinking, my personal view is like those boutique hotels, more exclusive hotels that are only taking 50, 60 people, 70 people, tops 100, are going to be the
Mm-hmm.
ones that really are going to be like booked to the next year or more, because they're not going to have that amount of people together.
Maybe. The other part and the other side too is all-inclusives may end up, I wouldn't want to see this, but they may need to start dropping their prices. and offering a little bit less or refining what their focuses are to cut costs from an economic standpoint. I don't think it's going to stop people from going. I think some, I hate to say it, but I think majority of the intelligence in the world have a short-term memory. So I think they're going to go right back too, because they'll be driven by price. That's my honest perspective. I think that they're going to forget and they're just going to keep going back forward, sadly. But I don't think it's going to cause that great of an impact for people to stop. I think that there might be a little more, you'll probably see a couple more signs at the buffet saying, keep some space or keep some distance or bring your own,
Yeah, you might be
they'll,
right.
they'll be a bit, they'll swap out the spoons more often, or maybe even buffets become a little less, they might only open those up in a year's time. I think that's going to be a slow process, but I don't think it's going to stop people, because I think overall they have a short-term memory and they're going to be driven by what the price of something is. And knowing that most all-inclusives will open back up just to get people. It's like a cruise ship. It's better to have booked rooms than have empty rooms. But sadly, people will forget.
Yeah, I mean, you are right. I mean, you have a point. Like I said, we have kind of a short memory. I have a short memory myself. I hardly remember what I did yesterday. So, so it's kind of like that thing. It is for me. It is a concern. I have to tell you, because I mean, the Caribbean is full of all inclusive. There's just a few cute places that are you can consider those as even I will call it luxury, but at the same time they're very unique and exclusive, and they're like small. And for me, those are the ones right now, from my perspective, that are really going to be striving the most. Just creating these little spaces where there's not too many people together in this Q3, Q4 type of thing coming up for this next coming year. But I hope that everybody comes out fine. That's my main my main
Yeah.
point. Whatever that might look like, whatever that might look like, that will be fine. Even for us, I mean, us as Punta Cana Wellness, we were so enthusiastic. And just by the way, and I'm saying this in the interview and to you, I have received so many emails of people as feeling our decision of not doing the conference this year sadly. Like they were hoping for us to do it in October, they were hoping for us to move it to the end of the year, and they're like, whenever you do it, I want to be there. Thank you for so the seed was planted, and this is part of keeping it up and just letting you know this, because I know that you are fun to like hearing feedback and hearing people coming over. They haven't shared this with you, but it's been really nice to receive these emails from people from all over saying like, oh, it's sad to hear, but we are with you and we want to see you guys. We want it because they really like the lineup that we put together, Sara. Really.
I would be proud too. You did a great job with that. I would be
It was
really
the
proud.
lineup that we all put together, the effort that we all put together. Is it people are like, oh, we want this. So like you're mentioning, wellness, it's going to be an essential part of any business moving forward from this, because there's no other way. We need to start enhancing people's well-being, and we need to start making preventive medicine available to everyone. Measurements and eating healthy and good habits and all these kind of things that you know more that I do, because I just jumping in as a newbie here. You have I'm a newbie here. You have all the experience in this already.
Well, that's the part that I find amazing. So when we go to the grocery store and, I see what is sold out and I see what there is plenty of stock in, and I'm like 99% vegan. And I see that all the pasta, all the white pasta, all the white breads, and all of the meats are completely gone. The toilet paper too, and all the hand sanitizer. What is in full stock are all the strawberries, which taste amazing right now. All the oranges and the clementines and all of the healthier fruits, all of the greens, the broccolis, the kales. And I was like, you want to know what you can do? It's not to stock up on toilet paper to make sure you can wipe your butt for another year. It's get the foods that are going to build your immune system. Take this time to learn how to move your body without having to gym, get really smart. And this is where I teach a lot of the business travelers too, is you don't need a gym to stay fit. You can do things without equipment, but where it starts, it's all in the mind. So this is a real test as humans to see how we can evolve on a personal level and really learn to deal with our own demons at this point, to say, what do I need to overcome to get better as a human and a healthier human? Because at the end of the day, if you don't have your health, nothing matters. Nothing matters.
Yeah. Yeah, completely right, completely true. Wise words again. Sara, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today, to join us for this interview. Everyone, stay healthy. Go to the supermarkets and grocery stores and please get your greens and your fruits. They're all there for you, like Sara is saying. Let's learn how to deal with this situation in a better way. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for this time, Sara. Again, like I always, every time that I talk to you, it's so uplifting and so like empowering. I just feel like, yeah, let's go out there right now.
Don't go out there, stay home.
No, Sacramento. Thank you so much. Have a great day, Sara.
Thank you. And anyone listening, if you want to contact me, you can find me on Instagram at Live Free Warrior. The YouTube that I mentioned is Live Free Warrior, and my website, livefreewarrior.com. Feel free to send me an email with any questions.
And in case you don't find her, you can go into the Instagram of Punta Cana Wellness. You can look into all the fans and users, and you see her on my posts. You see her everywhere. And her tag, she's tagged in everything that I almost do. So you'll find her. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.